Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Craig and Dave Unscripted. So last week we officially launched our upcoming new feature, Smart Tasks, and we didn't allude. We made it quite clear to the fact that although we're delivering you a feature-rich product with Smart Tasks at the start of the academic year, there's a lot that we want to add in, and we've already scoped all of this and work's already started. And we said this week we'd take a little look at the roadmap for Smart Tasks so you know what's coming up. So just going to share the screen there. So as we already mentioned, on launch, 1st of September, and say if you've not seen last week's video, we went through this in a bit more detail. Then you're going to have a feature set that allows you to easily create tasks, customize that task experience a number of ways, assign it to students, track the progress on that task as it's undertaking. We're giving you an intuitive and feature-rich marking interface that also allows you to leave feedback, and then the ability to view historical marks. So that will all be there from day one. And we also talked a little bit last week about how you could use Smart Tasks to actually help support many of the activities that you do anyway on a day-to-day basis. So you're going to be able to use Smart Tasks to engage on entry, set homework, tests, assessments, mocks, and a range of other activities. And again, you can refer back to last week's video where we discussed that. So what we really want to do today is have a little chat through the roadmap. So we said we're going to be launching at the start of the academic year. I think it's the first. And everything we've talked about previously will be in there for free. That's important. There's no extra cost. It will just become available to you. But then we've got a whole extra set of features that we just didn't manage to get in for the start. And we've prioritized those now. So I'm going to stop a bit, hand over to Dave. So what's coming up in sort of the first release of Smart Tasks after launch, Dave?
Yeah, so one of the features that we're keen to get in is something called task tagging. So at the moment, when you look at all the tasks in your markbook, you can identify a task by its name, but you can't categorize them. You can't say, these are homework tasks, these are in-class discussion tasks, these are our end-of-topic tests. And you might want to do that so that you can then filter them, because your markbook is likely to hold quite a lot of data if you're using it regularly. And it might be handy, particularly, for example, for parents' evenings, for you just to be able to see the end of topic tests and the mock exams and things like that you've set, the more important data. And so we want a way of you being able to tag a task when you create it. So later on, you can then filter by those tags. And we want those tags to be customizable. So we might have some default options in there for you, but we want you to be able to then edit them, create your own tags, and then share tags with other teachers that are also sharing the classes with you. So it should be completely customizable, enabling you to then customize the filtering options. So that was a feature that actually we hadn't thought about. That came from the community. So we have a small group of sort of beta testers and teachers that sort of advise us on the feature set. And that was an idea that came from them. So this is another example of how the teachers can have a direct influence on the product. And Craig has said it before, if you're a regular user of Smart Revise, but there's something about it that it doesn't quite do for you, then, you know, drop us an email, and the likelihood is that those features are going to hit a release at some point in the future. And in fact, the whole tasks mode itself is something that came from the community. It wasn't something that we originally had planned to do, but there was such a demand for more control over the task setting process from teachers that you know, we decided to consult with the community and implement that feature. So task tagging is brilliant. So do you want to talk about one of the others, Craig?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that's where this feature came from, but yeah, absolutely. So we're also going to have a few little extra, and that's the main thing that will come in the next release. But you're also going to be able to edit tasks. I mean, initially, once you've created a task, if you've made a slight mistake in it, like mismatched spelling in the name or something. There's not a lot of flexibility there, but very quickly after release, you're going to be able to edit a task, once it's been set, to tweak it. Delete task, I thought I'd taken that out. I think I might have taken it out of a later slide and it will disappear, but you can already delete a task for an individual student or all students at release. That is more about deleting a task from your historical mark book. So we're just going to add some more flexibility in. And just with all the analytic reports, you'll be familiar that with all the analytic reports, you're able to download a raw CSV file, because we know how much teachers love to import that into Excel and then, play with it. And we're just going to be throwing in some additional data there to, give you as much data as possible in that CSV from the mark book. So that's what's going to be going into release 2. The big one is
we probably ought to.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, Craig. We probably ought to just elaborate just slightly there. So at the moment in your mark book, it shows you percentages. That was important to us so that you can compare like with like to tasks. So, for example, if you've got an end of topic test for one topic and then you've got another end of topic test for another topic, but because of the experience, there's a slightly different, number of questions in there or number of marks available. It can then make the comparison between those two tests more tricky. So it was important to us that we show percentages. However, we know the moment we do that, someone in the community is going to say, can I please see the raw marks? And so we want to be able to expose the raw marks for you as well. So at the moment, what happens is it shows you the percentages on screen. And if you download the data, it shows you the raw marks. We just want to increase the flexibility so you can see both of those on screen and in the downloads.
Yeah, absolutely. So task tagging is the major feature, a few quality of life improvements there. I veered away, by the way, to putting dates in these releases. I was going to put October, November, December, but I think our developer would be quite angry if I did that. They will come out as soon as they're available. But these aren't going to be sort of like big 2-3 month waits. A lot of this stuff is scoped out. Work behind the scenes has already started on some of these. So, we would hope to get these releases out as soon as possible. But when they are ready, I sound awfully non-committal there, but we're not going to wait around. So once that's out, we're going to be moving on to something we know people want. And that is a rich suite of analytics, because you're used to that, but analytics based on the actual task and the ability, which we talked about last week, to view and change individual questions once the question set has been picked during task creation. So do you want to elaborate on our thoughts on those two a little bit there, Dave?
Yeah, so the analytics reports are going to be very similar to what you're familiar with the other modes, but of course they will just show you the data from a particular task. So if you're interested in knowing, what were the top 10 least understood questions, assuming there were 10 questions in the task, you'll be able to have a look at that, as well as how students are performing across the different topics and those sorts of things. So you're going to get some analytics. But again, that's a part of the product that at the moment is still in its infancy. And we'd love your feedback if there are particular reports that you would like in any of our modes. So in quiz mode, terms mode, advanced mode, and now tasks, just again, make us aware of those and we can build those out pretty quickly. It's one of those aspects of the product that surprises me. I always think that it's going to take a while to develop those analytics reports, but the way that we've coded it in the back end means that actually creating those reports is relatively straightforward compared to implementing some of the other features. So if you've got ideas, then please let us know. Changing questions on tasks seems very obvious. At the moment, we wanted to reduce the workload for the teacher. So instead of you having to manually pick your questions to set the task, which is going to be very time consuming and laborious, we wanted the product to generate those questions for you, but we know what happens in that situation. There'll be some questions that you don't like and you want to swap them out, and maybe you do want to just build the entire task from scratch, so you can be very selective with the questions that you want to pick. So all of that will be available. At the moment, you can generate a completely random set of questions. That's out there in release, and after that, you'll be able to click a button to randomly change a question. And after that, you'll be able to then select specific questions from the entire bank of questions that we've got. So again, that's all in the pipeline, but our starting position was how can we make this easy for teachers and save them time? That was our starting point.
Yeah. So the next one probably won't be a surprise if you saw last week's video. When we showed you the process of creating a task, there's a page where you set your schedule. And there are 4 options on that page, of which 2 are available at launch and 2 say coming soon. So the 2 that are coming soon will be developing after release 3, and that's deadline enforced tasks and also timed tasks. So the concept there of when the task starts, it starts ticking down a timer. So a realistic exam experience. Once the time is up, the task will submit regardless of where you are. And obviously that will include the work to incorporate the support that Dave talked about last week for candidates who are entitled to extra time. So effectively that's what's coming in release 4. Anything you want to just expand on there a bit, Dave, or if I kind of covered that?
Not on those points. I would just like to say, as sort of Craig alluded to at the beginning of the video, that these are the 4 quick iterations that we want to do. And we would anticipate all of these features being in place before Christmas. As Craig said, we're not going to actually put times and dates because we don't want to disappoint, but we're anticipating this being available within the first term. But of course, it's just the beginning of a long journey that we've got planned out. So we don't want you to think that this roadmap is then the end at the end of release 4. We're going to be listening to your feedback. We're going to be implementing the ideas that you come up with. But we also have several major features that are already in the analysis and design stage. And so again, this is still the beginning of a longer journey with Smart Revise as a product. Yeah. And you can anticipate during 2022 that we will probably be releasing another significant major feature that at the moment we're just not talking about because we haven't done the full analysis on it yet. But I just want you to know that those 2 things happen in tandem. We're listening to community and adding in features that you want and you ask for. And we're also developing significant, bigger features that are part of a bigger journey that we're on with this product. And you can expect continual evolution of this way beyond 2022 with some of the ideas that we've got at the moment. And for those of you studying computer science, just a final thing, really. What sort of methodologies are we using here? You know, are we using a classic sort of waterfall model, systems lifecycle? Are we using rapid application development? Are we using, other techniques, spiral models, etc.? So just a little, we might as well just put a little bit of theory in there. Why not?
Typical Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. So meet the needs of all the audience. So we're using an agile approach, which you might expect with a modern development, and it's based loosely on a Scrum approach. The idea being that we've got very short sprints now. Having developed a big feature, we're now identifying smaller features that go into 4 to 6 week sprints. So that's why we're able to say, this is what's going to happen in release 1, release 2, release 3, release 4 after the release of the major feature, because that's planned in 4 to 6 week sprints.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to double down on what Dave has said. I mean, it's important to realize that is not the end. That is just the extra steps we're releasing on Smart Tasks. I think this is the first major feature. Obviously, we've gone quiz, terms, advanced mode. In there was also some gamification and leaderboards and improvements to a vision report. But I think each time we released something, it pretty much had in it what we thought the community would want. That doesn't mean we don't continue to iterate and evolve on it, but they were pretty much ready. We knew with this feature, we had a deadline. We want you to be able to set tasks and mark them by the 1st of September. And it became clear that there was, and this is a good lesson for students as well, it became clear that there was too much work in there unless we wanted to break the back of our poor developer team. So this was a case of, that's what you're getting on launch, and here's the stuff we couldn't fit in, let's prioritize it. And we, our developer constantly surprises us, by the way, as well. Dave said by Christmas, sometimes it's like, right, that's done, and we won't hold out. if task tagging, edit, and additional data is done within the first couple of weeks, we'll get it out to you. So we'll get this stuff out as soon as we can. But as Dave said, that is not the end of the product. That's just what's left in Smart Tasks that we want to tell you about now, so it's coming. Yeah, I think I could think of at least 2 major exciting features, which are well into analysis and one proper into development that I want to talk about, but we really can't at this stage. Don't want to give the game away. But yeah, we're going to carry on evolving. So I think that video served its purpose. Dave, any sort of closing comments from you, or shall we wrap it up there?
No, I think hopefully that's given you an idea of, across those latest 3 videos, as Craig says, what Smart Revise is going to do with Smart Tasks. And people get confused. They think it's a new product. It's not. Smart Tasks is just part of Smart Revise, okay, which you are getting as a free upgrade, absolutely. You don't need to do anything to install it. It will just, on the 1st of September, suddenly have new functionality that it didn't have before. So there's nothing for you to do there. And then, that's a video of how to use it in the classroom came next. And then finally, today, we've been looking at just sort of whetting your appetite for what we're doing and where it's going next. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Join us next week, where we're going to return to the Ministry of Silly Algorithms and announce a couple of new winners of the exclusive Ministry of Silly Algorithms Mug and Hall of Fame. So we'll see you then, everyone. Bye-bye.